her son was deeply sorry for his actions, but it was the words of Austin Metcalf's mother, Megan, that hung heavily over the courtroom. Addressing Anthony directly, she said, "You may have been given a sentence of 35 years. You should feel lucky. I've been sentenced to a lifetime without my son." Even the presiding judge, John Roach Jr., would later describe Anthony as a nice young man in post-trial comments, yet firmly stood by the jury's decision, citing the absolute gravity of the crime. While the courtroom focused on the mechanics of the law, the court of public opinion exploded. Almost immediately, the case was turned into a cultural and racial flashpoint. Austin Metcalf was white, Karmelo Anthony black. Outside the Collin County courthouse in 90-degree heat, confrontations erupted between opposing groups of protesters, culminating in multiple arrests. For many civil rights advocates and supporters of the Anthony family, the case became a glaring example of systemic bias. Their frustration was deeply compounded by the racial makeup of the jury. Despite Collin County's rapidly diversifying population, the final panel of 12 jurors and 6 alternates did not include a single black member. The controversy deepened when it was revealed that prosecutors had used their preemptory strikes to remove 3 potential black jurors, all of whom happened to be educators. While the defense fiercely objected, the judge allowed the strikes. Anthony's defense team immediately filed an appeal, signaling a potential Batson challenge, a legal claim arguing that jurors were excluded systematically based on race. Prominent figures and internet commentators quickly railed behind the narrative that a young black man cannot receive a fair trial under an all-white judicial apparatus in Texas. Conversely, conservative media and right-wing provocateurs weaponized the case from the opposite end. Radical voices flooded social media, with some extremists explicitly calling for Anthony to be lynched. Mainstream supporters of the Metcalf family, however, firmly insisted that race had absolutely nothing to do with the case. They argued that hyper-focusing on race was a distraction from a clear-cut case of an unarmed teenager being murdered at a high school sporting event. Austin's father, Jeff Metcalf, spoke out aggressively against the public discourse, calling the politicization of his son's memory sickening. He stated bluntly, "I said from day one this was never about race. It's about right and wrong. We all bleed the same color." Karmelo Anthony, now 19 years old, has begun serving his time at Texas Department of Criminal Justice facility. His family maintains that nobody wins in this tragedy and that a flawed trial has sent a teenager to prison for trying to defend himself. Meanwhile, the Metcalf family is trying to piece their lives back together, carrying a grief that no courtroom verdict can ever heal. As the legal appeals begin to work their way through the appellate system, the case of Anthony and Metcalf remains a sobering mirror of modern America. A tragedy born in seconds, on a rain-slick bleacher, permanently magnified by a nation that views justice through the lens of race.